our Tremolo series.
In this series, we're going to share with you tremolo pedals by some of our favorite manufacturers.
Thanks for joining us. Today we're looking at the TR1 Tremolo from DLS Effects, and the Beard's going to tell you more about this pedal.
Yeah, I mean, this is another great tremolo pedal. We've mentioned this one on the show several times. Pat and I were just joking because we keep telling the story, not to tell it again.
But it goes a little bit like this.
Yeah. This is one of the few that we've actually had an opportunity to play live.
Yes.
In a group situation. Pat uses the Cesar Diaz Tremodillo every week, 1 week. And normally every week at some point I think to myself, wow, that tremolo sounds really good. And then 1 week I was thinking, wow, that tremolo sounds really good. But it's in time.
Yes. It can't be the Diaz.
And that's when I realized he snuck this one in. And it does. It sounds fantastic.
It does.
So we're a big fan of Dave Stacito, who runs DLS Effects. He's a great guy. We've got to know him a little bit through doing the show. He's done an interview with us. He did a live stream with us.
Yep.
He sent us the Rotospin. He's been really supportive of the show.
Yep.
And that's not why we like him. We like him because his pedals sound great.
Right. The other stuff is a bonus.
Right. So, great guy, great company. If you haven't checked out DLS Effects, they have other great pedals. You really need to go and check them out. Especially if you watch this, I think you'll agree. So, let's dive into it. Starting with features.
Yeah.
I think that there's a unique setup to this pedal. For instance, if you look at the back here, we have an in A, an out A, an in B, and an out B. So you can run 2 ins and 2 outs, run it stereo, whatever. You have an expression pedal, then your 9-volt supply. This in and out thing with 2 outs allows us to do some kind of unique stuff with it.
Right.
We'll get to that here in a minute. The rate knob with tap tempo or normal or an expression pedal. When you're using tap tempo, the rate knob becomes subdivisions. A depth knob like you would expect to find. A volume B and a volume A. And then 2 knobs, shape and warmth, that are a little bit different than anything we've seen on any other ones. The shape, you maybe would think that this is changing the shape of your wave, and it's not. Right. So in the bottom of this pedal, there's actually jumpers, and you can choose between the sine wave, a triangle wave, and then the DLS Effects recommended wave. It's their wave, which is something kind of like a mixture of those, but it's fantastic. And so you can kind of choose between those 3 with the jumper on the inside. What the shape knob does is changes the amount of on time. So if we go all the way to the left, you're going to hear, we had it. We tried
more
it.
of the guitar. I'm going to get a little bit more of the natural.
Was it? I think it was the other way, wasn't it?
I don't think so.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to the airman in a moment if you like Few Good Men like I do.
We'll come back to that in a few minutes. Then the warmth knob, there's 2 different optos in here. One of them is a little more pronounced. One of them is maybe not as pronounced. That's a good word for it, I think. And so as you go to the left, you go to the more pronounced side. As you go to the right, you go to the less pronounced side, which maybe isn't a great word. I think the word he uses here, warmth.
Yeah.
For tube warmth. We like that. So right in the middle, you're kind of hitting both of these opto circuits, and then you can lean to either side. So I think we need to start with just the sounds.
Yes. I always struggle. 2013? American Deluxe?
14? I
Sure.
don't know.
13, 14.
He does this, so I have to look it up and type it in.
Right.
So we're going from the American Deluxe into
to Tyler PT22 and the PV Classic 30.
Right. So both of them are running.
Yeah.
And you will hear what that sounds like shortly. So let's start with the depth knob. We always do that, and we run kind of the depth I'll put it in the
Is it
middle.
on or off? Because I didn't hit the obligatory reference tone.
I'll put it in the middle.
Now that we got all this straight, that's what it sounds like
Okay.
without the effect.
Then I'll put it in the middle.
Yeah.
Roll it off, back to the middle, roll it to full. So
Okay.
we get the whole 9.
All right. Very throbby there on the far right.
I had a really interesting sweep to it. Because I felt like even all the way off, you could feel that movement. Sometimes it's hard to feel that movement when they're all the way off. But I almost felt like the characteristic it probably didn't.
It just seemed like it. I think as the more of the effect came in and the throb, it almost seemed like a shape change of the waveform. We got a little more get to the choppa.
It was nice. I like it.
Yeah.
Let's turn that back a little bit. We'll do speed just so people can see that. And one strum on the lowest and maybe one strum on the highest.
Okay. I'll give you a different chord.
So you the hummingbird.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting more used to that. I might even be able to find a space for that. There's some that are so fast it sounds super digital. That sounds pretty cool, actually.
I think if we take the speed down to something normal, I'm going to flip it over to the tap. We'll leave it on 8th notes. Let's pull the depth. Leave the depth up pretty high. We'll do the shape knob. Let's get to the bottom of that.
Okay.
So we'll do extremes. Strum in the middle. I'll move it all the way to the left. Give it some whatever. And then I'll move it all the way to the right so we can see what's going on.
All right. So you got a bonus strum there.
On the left, more time on. So when we say on, we mean guitar signal coming through. On the right, more time off. So no guitar signal coming through. That's why you get that kind of choppy. And he talks about getting those almost reverse Jimi Hendrix sounds out of it. And I can see when we had it all the way over there,
Yeah.
probably with the depth high like that, I could see with that. Let's do warmth. I'll start it all the way over on the more kind of abrupt octo, and then we'll go up to the mix of the two, and then all the way to the warmer kind of tube-late octo.
that knob is appropriately labeled.
Yeah.
When you get it all the way to the right, that is really warm, really smooth.
So even though, like, 'cause one of the things we've seen a lot in some of the tremolo pedals is the different, really attacking the different waveforms.
Mm-hmm.
Like going for, sine, triangle, square, ramp. It doesn't seem like Dave went for that. Dave, I mean, you have that. You can take the back off and you can adjust that.
Yeah.
There's even a gain knob in there to adjust volume A as well. So there's some internal stuff that you can do, but it seems like he kind of more went for like, let's just take a great waveform and give it a lot of options to make it how much time the guitar is on, how much time the guitar is off, how warm it sounds, how more... I'm not sure what the opposite of warmth is, like with the right word for that.
Right.
The abruptness of it, because it is. It's a little more abrupt. It seems like he kind of went for that. There's other great features. This is where these pedal demos get kind of fun for me. So we have tap tempo on right now. You probably saw me, if we change this, like if we would change this to 1 and 4, that would be 16th notes. So if I tap in again, it's now going to do 16ths.
Yeah, you can see the light, but I'll...
So you do have to, once you change it, you have to retap
Right.
in for that to kick in. Some things that we did not talk about, this is kind of like this, I don't know if they're hidden things, but the things that you don't notice at first. Volume A is true bypass, volume B is buffered.
I'm learning right along with you.
There's an incredible feature here, I think, incredible, called ping pong. Maybe you've noticed it saying ping pong here. So if you start playing, as you start to play, after you play for a little bit, I will hit and hold the tap tempo button for a couple seconds. That will shift it to ping pong, and we'll have the area. We have the amps running in stereo, so you're probably hearing the. I can't guarantee this, but you're probably hearing the PV more in your left ear and the Tyler more in the right ear. So we'll let you play a little bit, and then we'll turn on the ping pong effect. That probably got hard for you. I apologize, because it was like purposely, okay, let's take the shape to more off. Mm-hmm. So it's going to make it a little harder.
Right.
Let's take the warmth knob, go back towards the more kind of, the opto that's more, is it abrupt? What was the
I
word?
couldn't come up with one. That didn't sound derogatory or negative.
Yeah, I mean, so...
It's different.
Yeah, well, for different things. Mm-hmm. But I thought, well, if we have it bouncing back and forth between the ears, let's make it really choppy. Some cool things you can do. So most of us don't carry 2 amps with us. Most of us are going to be running it in mono. So if you are running this in mono, I'm going to turn amp B completely off, so it's just on amp A. Hopefully in editing I remember to put this into both ears.
All right.
So just on A, I'm going to let you play. Mm-hmm. Let's get maybe a little faster tempo.
Okay. And I think you turn it off. Is it off?
Yeah, it's off.
Yeah.
And then after you start playing, I'm going to hit the tap tempo.
Oh, yeah, right.
All right.
Yeah, I'm with you. Took me a second. Welcome to the show.
So one of the things that is your favorite thing about your Caesar Diaz is the ability. It doesn't have tap tempo, but it has a cut switch on it, or a double switch, however you want to look at it.
Right.
So because you are, when you go to ping pong, you're bouncing it back and forth between A and B because you've pulled B out. When you're running in mono, you're just going to a halftime. Mm-hmm. So if you don't care as much about like tap tempo and care more about, or even if you do care about tap tempo, because theoretically you could tap it in, we could tap it in on 16th notes and do the same thing. Mm-hmm. Or you could manually set the rate.
Right.
And still do the same thing.
Right.
The other thing you can do.
And express yourself. With the Moog EP2.
Right, so now we have the Moog EP2. We have to take it out of tap mode.
Right.
Once we take it out of tap mode,
you're in control.
Okay.
Oh yeah, here we
It's actually kind of fun trying to get it to lock into something you're playing by moving this.
I think the Who showed up in one of those.
I heard that. That's fantastic too.
Yeah.
What did we not cover?
I don't know.
So there is one last thing. I think on this pedal, since you've used it live and we really, really like it, maybe show the setting that you use and how we got to that. So we just sat, we actually kind of paused there for a minute. You saw the blip. And we kind of dialed in the setting that he had. And so what he has is the depth about middle of the road. So we're not over-exaggerating the depth. We've pulled the shape. Remember, the shape is how much time it's on. And I was talking to Dave earlier today, because I called him just to clear a few things up. And he said, maybe I should have labeled that something other than shape. But it's how much it's on. So we're actually...
Like a blend, more or less.
Well, yeah.
Okay. I derailed the conversation.
It's all right. It's in the middle would be on as much as it's off.
Yeah.
And so we're leaning towards on more than it's off right now. So you pulled that. So you're not going to get as hard of a cut.
Right.
And then we took the warmth to that like second octave. That's like the tube warmth of it. That's going to lean more on that. It's going to be more of a smoother thing. So this should be a pretty kind of smooth flowing.
Which is more how I use a tremolo. I love the chop, don't get me wrong, we've talked about that, but in an actual application, this is more how I use a tremolo.
So let's take a chord progression that you might actually play with that and just show what it sounds like.
Yeah, okay. really warm. That's nice.
It sounds great.
It does.
It does. It really does. Thanks, Dave, for signing that out.
Yeah.
Thank you for what you're doing. We love this stuff. So, with that, I think that wraps it up for us for this pedal. We've been saying we really appreciate... We haven't just been saying it, we mean it. We really appreciate those of you that are taking the time to interact with the channel. Every time you hit like, click on subscribe, or leave a comment down below, it helps the channel. If you go out to Instagram or Facebook and you leave a message there, it helps the channel as well. So...
Are you laughing about Instagram? You just created a whole new platform of grandmas on Instagram.
Wow. Every once in a while.
It happens.
No, every once in a while I might be able to get through something without making
I thought you were the accidental genius. We're going to market Instagram.
Instagram.
You want to know how your grandkids are doing? Get on Instagram.
And with that...
Yes. I'm PJ on behalf of the Beard, reminding you no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear.
Drive.
Expressed myself. It's safe to get on the chopper now. The blades are slow enough.
Why? I don't know why. It seems like every one we try to get to the helicopter sound.
Yeah.